Hello, hello, hello. This is for Dr. L's class. I know that you are taking classes in preparation for teachers, and this particular speech and talk will be about the first year for teachers and classroom management, otherwise known as classroom management tips for the first year teacher. My name is Kwame Carr, and I have an extensive background in education. I started as a teacher myself. I taught for 7 years, and then I became an instructional coach for a couple of years, and then I was an assistant principal at the middle school level, then 3 years at the high school level, assistant principal, then I was a principal at the middle school level for 4 years and 3 years as an executive director, supervising other principals for 3 years, and assistant superintendent of a school district for 5 years. That particular job was actually in operations. Just providing that background so you'll know where I am coming from. But I will tell you that classroom management is the number one thing that springboarded my career. Why would I say that? Because the first thing a principal or assistant principal or even another teacher or a parent will notice about your classroom is how well you manage your own environment. So if you have no control of your kids, you can be a stellar teacher in your mind. You can be a stellar teacher with all the degrees in the world and all of the props and all of the things that zoom by in the classroom to make your instruction look great. But if you cannot manage your classroom, that teacher down the hall that has classroom management, that's half of what you are, is going to outdo you academically every year because the students are paying attention, they're engaged, and they pretty much love those teachers. So here we are. We're going to get through this quickly. I know I have about 15 minutes max. And so I know you have 6 components of classroom management that you are looking at. And I know you have an assignment attached to it. And hopefully I won't bias how you complete this assignment, but I may unintentionally bias your responses. But your 6 components of classroom management are the materials that you use. How do you select your materials? Your layout for your instruction, how are you going to lay out your classroom, how are you going to lay out your materials, your instruction itself. What will that look like? Will it be group or will it be individual? Will it be cooperative or collaborative in nature? Will it be what? Will it be? What policies and procedures do you have in place for your classroom? What time frame do you have to work all of that in? And what behavior will you exhibit? For purposes of this particular talk, we are going to focus on behavior because materials, teachers got that. Layout, you got that. Instruction, policies, procedures, time, you got all that. That's totally in your control. Where teachers tend to struggle, first-year teachers, some 20-year teachers, but where they tend to struggle is with behavior. And it's not the behavior of the kids, ladies and gentlemen, it's the behavior of the adults. Why do I say that? Because if you plan accordingly what your behavior is going to be, the kids will follow suit. Now, I'm not saying 100% will follow suit, but I am saying that your behavior determines the kids' behavior. So if you're not strong in the classroom and you're not friendly, stern, I just made that up, then you're not going to be able to be effective because the classroom demographics are changing and it does not match the teaching population. So there's going to be some cultural differences in the classroom regardless of where you are today in the classroom setting. And so one culture is going to have to be accustomed to the other culture and vice versa. And so we're going to talk about some of those things briefly in the time that we have remaining. Let's go back to behavior, which is one of the 6 aspects that I wanted to focus on. The mindset of the teacher is going to determine your success. So if you're getting up and you don't think you're going to be successful, then you're not going to be successful. You have to plan your day before you leave. Your next day needs to be completed the day before. When you walk out of that building, be prepared for the next day because during your planning time or whenever you think you're going to have that free time, that may not occur for various reasons. You may have to cover a class. There may be an emergency, the parent might show up, a meeting may be called, a team meeting, whatever. So your mindset and preparation has to be on point. You have to have some cultural sensitivity. What do I mean by that? Awareness and participation in it. So if you're in a community that you don't reside in and the culture is different, show up somewhere. Go to the grocery store. Go to the movies. Go somewhere that you feel safe that you can go, but be seen by those that you serve. That will go a long way. All right. These are things outside of the classroom that you can do. And awareness. You know the type of music your students listen to. Whatever that is, listen to some of the lyrics. I know some of it can be kind of raunchy and some of it is not good. But some of these vocabulary terms the students are going to be using. And so you have to learn how not to get upset every time someone references a song that they heard that some other adult played or allowed their child to listen to. It helps you have a smoother day and have an understanding of where some of this is coming from. Start your lesson at the door. What do I mean by that? So I was a math teacher, right? So I would have slips of paper. I would put maybe 8 problems on one sheet of paper and then run 4 copies for 32, right? And so I would cut them out. And then on there will be an order of operations problem. It could be a division problem, long division. It could be multiplication. Because my kids, because of the environment that I was in, came to me behind every year, regardless. And now, post-COVID, they're all coming to you a little bit behind. So at the door, when they walk in, hand them a slip of paper with something to do. I don't care what you teach or what it looks like. But for me, in math, I handed them a math problem that, number one, got them engaged right at the door. I didn't line them up in the hallway because that's wasting instructional time. You don't have time to waste instructional time in the hallway. Be quiet before you come in the room. That's taken away and it's setting you up for a bad day. You be prepared at the door, greet the kid, because now you've spoken to every child, made contact with every child. You smiled at every child. You said hello to every child. You told every child, get busy. Here's the assignment. Get busy, get busy, get busy. How you doing? Get busy. Good to see you. Boom, 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 boom. And now they're working on their problem. They're being remediated at the door. You already have the answer ready because you did that the night before. And then you can go over the problem or you can show the answer or you can go around and give check marks. They can self-check. That builds trust with them because they know you're not going to blast them out for not knowing the answer. That also gets them their skill level up. That also starts your day. It sets up your good transitions. It starts instructional time and maximizes instructional time. There are so many things that happen at the door as they walk from the door to their seat. And it gets them quiet. Now you can take roll and do whatever you need to do administratively to get that done. Verbal communication is very important. What do I mean by that? When students are not doing what they're supposed to do, call the house. I know some people don't want to do that because conflicts may arise. Some parents may say, don't call my house or don't call my job. But that's your job. If you want to have an easier job, then you need to be accustomed to making phone calls to students, residents, or on the job if necessary. And students will change their behavior. It works like a miracle, especially if you do it before the year starts and you make that positive call. I know a lot of you, your school year has already started, and so you can't make that call in advance of the school year. But if you do that first and introduce yourself and explain to the parents what you're going to be doing, that goes a long way. But if the year has already progressed and you're already in the midst and you haven't made any calls, you can still do that. But also, any negative occurrences in the classroom that you can handle yourself, which you want to do 99.9% of the time, make that phone call home and get the parents on your side and explain what happened and be professional about it. All of them won't go well. No, they won't, but most of them will. And the students don't want their house called. Trust me. The hardest part is for the teacher to make that phone call because the teachers are reluctant to do that. And they always have been. That's not just today. That's always been like that. Consistency of expectations. If one student does something that's not allowable, correct it with all the students. Be fair. Don't do it one day and don't do it the next day and then do it 2 days and then don't do it the next day. That's going to require some energy on your part, but it saves you in December and January and February and March because the kids already know. But if you're inconsistent, then they're going to be inconsistent. And that's what's going to drive you crazy. Engage the warriors on purpose. Now, who are the warriors? The warriors are the ones who are going to get on your nerves every day or try to cause havoc. Get them on your side. How do you do that? Catch them in the hallways like, hey, I'd like you to answer a question today. Here's the answer. I'm going to ask this, and then I'm going to hope that you raise your hand and give the correct answer, or I'm going to call on you. But if you could just don't tell anybody that I gave you this. And then, get that kid on your side And then next thing you know, they're participating. And if they're like one of the leaders who are leading kids in the wrong way, now you got another ally on your side. And they feel like they've contributed to class. Now you're one of their favorite teachers. Simple things you can do. Walk the room, ladies and gentlemen. When we go into schools today, too many people are behind the computer. You already know what they're doing. They get home. They on their phones, just like me, just like you. On the phone, pecking away, scrolling, doing whatever we're doing, mostly on social media or posting or whatever we're doing. Everybody's doing that. So don't do that all the time in school, from class to class to class. Teachers need to be up on their feet, walking in between the aisles, making sure students are engaged and doing what they're supposed to do. And by all means, know your content. If you don't know your content and you're just going day to day and you don't even know what you're teaching, you haven't even read your standards, that's the worst. So make sure you understand your standards. Make sure you have passion about what you're doing. All of these are adult-led behaviors. Now, I gave Dr. L a set of 12 things to do, and I've addressed some of these on a high level, but I'm gonna give you the 12 just for your knowledge. And I don't do a bunch of PowerPoints and a bunch of high-flying gigs and all that kind of stuff. I like to talk directly to people, and then you take notes, because when you write notes, you're more apt to do something when you're taking notes as opposed to seeing some presentation that you got to go back and pull up some stuff. But if you write it down, it's going to be in your memory better. Just, Anyway, I got off task. My 12 things are: set clear expectations. That's obvious. Engage students through your teaching strategies. Differentiate instruction. Incorporate culturally relevant pedagogy. Now, how do you do that? I know, for example, Black History Month is in February, but you don't have to wait till February because most of the curriculum is not about the students that you're serving. So in my classes, because I was in a school that served predominantly African-American kids, I would give them historical figures. I was a math teacher. I would give them historical figures to look up at night, because some of the parents would ask me, hey, can you help my child learn some of their history? So I would give them names or events to look up. And it wasn't even a part of my class. That's something they did on their own time. We never discussed it. We never went over it or anything. I just contributed to their success by giving them an assignment that their parents would follow up on at home that was more relevant to their particular culture. You can do that for any culture, not just the Black culture. Manage transitions well. You want smooth transitions. You don't want 20 minutes between this assignment and this assignment. No downtime. No downtime. You don't need any downtime. Kids are coming to you behind. Downtime will be a detriment. You got to work as hard as you can for as long as you can every day, maximizing all of your minutes, because they do go by quickly. Practice restorative practices, or implement restorative practices. That means don't be so petty about some of the things that are going on. If you hear a curse word, correct it, direct it towards the student. And I'm not saying, the F word and all that kind of stuff, the totally disrespectful stuff. I know profanity is not allowed, but if you're going to spend your day on that, then you're just not going to have a smooth process at all trying to teach, because you're going to hear it, because the kids are hearing it. It's on TV, it's on the radio, it's in the communities. All right. Use technology, of course, create a safe climate for your kids. Self-reflection is probably the most important thing. If you're not self-reflecting about how your day went, maybe writing it down and journaling. I wrote a book, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, several books, actually. Amazon.com, put my name in there, Kwame Carr. Amazon, YouTube, got some videos out there. Google, LinkedIn, that's where you can find me. Anyway, journal, and you will be amazed at what you can learn about your own strategies and how you can help yourself become better. Visit other teachers' classrooms, not to critique them, but to pick up some of their stuff on the good stuff that they do, and don't do the bad stuff. You'll see some bad stuff, you'll see some good stuff. But my greatest teachers were other teachers. Go to their classrooms, have an agreement, say, hey, I want to come in and see what you're doing. That kind of thing. Involve your families, phone calls, verbal, not email, not text. And also today you got the technology where you can make a calling post to your kids. Hey, we got tests coming up. Make sure your kid is prepared to do X, Y, Z, right? And then cultivate positive relationships with your kids. You don't have to be their friends, because that's going to backfire. Just be respectful of them. They will respect you back. Be prepared. Come looking the part like a teacher, and be positive and be consistent. That is 15 minutes of my time and yours. I hope you've enjoyed.